So, hello everyone, this is Kevin Malone. I'm here with Carol Lippman, who's the investment portfolio manager at Dearborn Partners. And we're here today to talk about the Dearborn Partners portfolio and the stress test conversations we've had with Carol, the work that she's done. As everyone knows, this strategy is composed of two parts, dividend level and dividend raises. And this portfolio has a very, very nice dividend yield right now, but the second component is really the worrisome part for us. And Carol has done a lot of work about stress testing this. Now, we asked Carol to divide the portfolio into three groups. The first group is those stocks where she's confident there will be a dividend raise. We did not suggest to her that we care about what the level of dividend raises is because we don't know what the third and fourth quarters will look like. The third category is, are there stocks that will there be dividend cuts? And then the second category is the one in the middle. So we're going to start, we're going to take you through all three of those categories. And well, welcome, Carol. And could you just take us through this first group where you're confident today, you have 11 stocks in this group, that there will be dividend raises in 2020 with these stocks?
Thank you, Kevin, for this opportunity. Confident in this unprecedented environment, I have to say, is a little strong. I would prefer to say hopeful. But the investment team and I have been meeting, and we are going through more rigorous re-examination of what we think is the dividend coverage, the debt ratings, the debt levels, the operating cash flow, less capital expenditures, and then what's left to cover the dividend. And so of the ones that would be in the first group, we feel or hope that they should raise their dividends. Why? We have always, even before we knew about this coronavirus, have tried to the best of our abilities to find the most defensive businesses to put into our portfolios, businesses that people patronize their products or services in tough economic times as well as good times, right. Never dreaming that we would be in a tough economic, forced economic shutdown like this to save lives, to preserve health and safety. So here we are with businesses that we think people need to continue to pay for no matter what happens. We all want our garbage collected, and so that's Republic Services Group. We all want to continue to pay our light bill and our power bills. We're heading into summer. We're going to need air conditioning. So we have two primarily electric utilities in there. Toilet paper, anybody needing toilet paper? We have Kimberly-Clark. Who knew that having Kimberly-Clark in this portfolio would be so very important when we put this together in September of 2011? But here we are, and we're glad we have it. We have another staple, consumer staple by the name of McCormick, the spice company, and you know, they help. We're all cooking at home now. We can't go out to a restaurant, and we want to make those meals flavorful. That's McCormick. We have insurers. We have a fabulous regional bank, community bank, Commerce Bank shares headquarters here in Missouri. Never took TARP money, never cut its dividend in the last crisis. That is an important criterion for us. What else is happening when we can't go out to the store except for essentials, but we need something delivered to the home? UPS. We have a wonderful gas company, industrial gas company, Air Products, that is so profitable that they could step in and buy 5 oxygen plants from a company that had to declare bankruptcy and needed the money just to go through the bankruptcy process. That is how profitable Air Products is. We have Johnson & Johnson, which we think is going to be at the forefront of finding cures for those who get the virus. By the way, I hope anybody watching this is virus-free, they and their families, and will stay that way and be healthy. Not only might they come up with cures, they might come up with a vaccine. So these are the kinds of businesses that we are hopeful will not only continue to pay their dividends, but raise their dividends.
Yeah. So I would just suggest to everyone that doesn't know you as well as I do, that my confident is you're hopeful.
Thank you, Kevin.
So I just want to talk about the third group, because you do have a stock where you think the dividend will be cut. So can you talk about that?
Again, I wouldn't use the word will. We fear it may be cut. Certainly the stock being down 70+% since the peak in the market in February would indicate that somebody thinks the dividend is not secure. That company is ONEOK. The ticker is OKE. Now, ONEOK is a company that hasn't just raised its dividend every year. It raises its dividend every quarter and has done it at an average year-over-year rate of 8%.
Right.
And they just raised their dividend on January of this past year, and they raised it to 93.5 cents. January 15th of 2020, they raised it to 93.5 cents, which was an 8.7% increase over what they were paying a year earlier.
Right.
If history is a guide, last year on April 18th, they announced their dividend declaration. And we have our eye on April 18th. And very honestly, Kevin, we would be thrilled if they would announce 93.5 cents again, which is atypical. I mean, in the 18 consecutive years that ONEOK has not just been paying a dividend, but raising a dividend, they've raised it every quarter.
Right. Right.
So if they kept the dividend at 93.5 cents, that would be a departure. We're hopeful that that's what they will do, but they may have to cut it in order to maintain their investment grade debt rating or something. After all, who knew that not only would the world shut down, which has curtailed demand for energy anyway, and this is a pipeline where it shouldn't, it's like a toll road. It doesn't matter whether an 18-wheeler or a 4-wheeler, comes through. But who knew that not only would demand dry up, forced to dry up, but that Saudi Arabia and Russia would declare a price war in the energy patch. So everything is going against this one in unprecedented fashion. So that's the only one that I put in that category, but we're still hopeful they may maintain it.
Yeah, so I would tell you that from where we sit, we think the biggest story in economics today would be what Saudi Arabia and Russia has done, were it not for the coronavirus. Okay, I want to get to the ones in the middle. You have 13 stocks in the middle, and I know you well enough to know what the middle means for you, that you're pushing yourself towards confidence into group one, that some of these may not raise their dividends. But I just want to talk about two stocks specifically, because I want everybody to understand the quality of the companies in the portfolio. AT&T trades at 4.3 times cash flow and has a 7% dividend yield, and IBM trades at 6.5 times cash flow and has a 6% dividend yield. Yet those go into your middle category. So can you just talk briefly about them and other stocks in the portfolio that fit into the middle category, so everybody has an idea about what this middle category actually represents?
Well, for one thing, this morning, AT&T was one of 3 companies in this very portfolio, as well as VF Corp and ExxonMobil, that issued press releases reiterating their commitment to maintaining their dividend.
Right.
With respect to AT&T and IBM, these are both companies that have made significant acquisitions over the past year and took on a considerable amount of debt to do so. AT&T bought Warner and IBM bought Red Hat. Now, we think both of those acquisitions are likely in a regular world, in a normal world, to enhance their businesses. But the fact is that part of what AT&T needed to do and still will need to do is to sell off assets in order to be able to draw down, apply that to paying off its debt. We think that their debt levels are well covered. It's well into the investment grade debt rating with a BBB. So we're not worried about the debt rating being lowered to below investment grade. But I would say that in this world stood still, but shut down,
Right.
the ability of it to shed assets, to sell assets, as was its original plan, has likely been interrupted.
Right.
The good news about AT&T is that they are the last company in our portfolio every year to announce its dividend declaration increase. And so they did that on December 15th. So we're not expecting them to need to even make a decision about what they do about their dividend for, 8 months?
Right.
So, and who knows, by then maybe things will have started to get back to activity coming back, and
Right.
maybe they can
Yeah.
be in an improved situation. But
Yeah.
for now, the press release reiterated their commitment to maintaining the dividend. IBM, we, again, just like ONEOK, we have April 18th on our calendars.
Right.
For IBM, April 30th. If history is a guide,
Right.
they have historically announced their dividend increase at
Right.
the end of this month. And you can bet that we are going to be watching that very, very closely. By the way, just so you know, the last increase that they announced was to $1.62, which was a 3.2% increase above what they paid a year earlier. It was their 24th consecutive increase. You may be familiar with the dividend aristocrats, which are
Sure.
a group of companies that Standard & Poor's has put together that
Right.
have increased their dividend for 25 consecutive years.
Yes.
And I have a feeling that IBM would love to join that club. but we will tell you that if you don't get too clever, or maybe if you get a little clever, they actually can wait a few quarters before they have to announce that, and it will still be considered an annual increase.
Yeah.
So even though come April 30th, if we have fingers crossed that they'll at least keep it at $1.62.
Yeah.
And if they do, they would have 3 more quarters to be able to raise it and still become a dividend aristocrat.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Carol, thank you very much. We greatly appreciate all of the work you do on this portfolio. You've done a great job for us. We think this idea is really the idea of the future, because while none of us know what this normal life is going to return to, it's hard for us to believe that 20 times earnings for the indexes is where it's going to wind up. And your portfolio has well over a 4% dividend yield. And even if we get modest increases in the future, it'll solve the investment needs of our clients. So thanks very much, and we appreciate you sharing with us today.
We appreciate your partnership, Kevin. Thank you.